What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD, and we're going to be talking about Black Widow. There will be spoilers later on in the review. I'll let you know when they're coming. And I'm going to give a little Captain America theory at the end, also containing spoilers. So if you want no spoilers, you're not going to want to stick around for that. Now, overall, I would say this movie's a solid 6.5 out of 10. A lot of action, a lot of fighting, big explosions, lots of jokes, but it just didn't feel like the kind of movie that you were expecting. I wasn't expecting a action movie. I was expecting more of a spy thriller, something that would do justice to the Black Widow character. I don't feel like the movie did that. I think it was more of a typical Marvel popcorn flick, a lot of action, a lot of explosions. There was some comedy. David Harbour stole the show as the Red Guardian. Love that character. Want to see more of him. Rachel Weisz's character, Melina, we didn't get much out of her. Wasn't that great. Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, whatever the hell her name is. Great actresses. They did a fantastic job. They made you care about the characters, made you really feel the emotional weight of the whole thing. Now, what really, throws the movie off from being a better movie is there was a lot of dark subject matter that was weirdly addressed in a very lighthearted way. Uh, at one point, Florence Pugh, whatever the hell her name is, her character Yelena Belova is telling the Red Guardian about the things that they went through, and they're sort of joking about having their uteruses removed. It was funny the way they did it, but it was still kind of a odd thing. Like they were, this really dark time in their lives, and they're just flippantly talking about it in a very lighthearted manner. It was kind of weird. There's other things in the movie like that where there's, the subject matter should be a lot darker, a lot more serious in tone, and yet they're treating it, kind of lighthearted, kind of, it's a Marvel movie. It's still Disney. We can't go to that deep, dark place. So a lot of that held the movie back as far as emotional weight and really, driving home the seriousness of the character's backstory. So that really held it back for me, in my opinion, from being a better movie. Like I said, solid 6.5. There was some over the top action that, I mean, if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. But if you kind of just sit back, turn your brain off, it's all good. Now, the Taskmaster is a big point of contention I've seen online. While I don't mind what they did with the character in the movie, I am a fan of the Taskmaster in the comics. I do enjoy his character. It is different. It's not what you're expecting. If you're expecting something akin to the comic books, you will be very, very disappointed. So, if that's the character that you like, if that's somebody who you enjoy reading about, I would just avoid this movie. Now, from here on in, we will have some spoilers. I'm going to go into deep, deep spoiler territory, so be prepared. Alright then, so the Taskmaster in this movie is actually the daughter of the man operating the Red Room, Drezkov. Now, she was presumed to be dead, killed by Natasha while she was attempting to kill Drezkov, which incidentally is the Budapest mission that Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch were discussing during the first Avengers movie. The throwaway joke about this mission that you never get to know about. Well, they tell you basically when the Black Widow was trying to escape from the Red Room, she hooked up with Hawkeye. They came up with a plan to, stop the Red Room, blow up Drezkov, and in a moment of, I don't know if it was weakness or if she was just uncaring. She hated the man more than she cared for the child. She basically allowed Drezkov's daughter to lead her to him, and then blew up the building with both of them in it. Somehow they both survive. One completely unscarred. The daughter, half her face is burned, and they got to put a chip in the back of her head in order for her brain to function. However, Drezkov is able to use this chip to further enhance his daughter, allowing her to mimic the moves of other characters, thus creating the Taskmaster. It was pretty decent, like I said. The idea that she had to use a computer chip to mimic these people's moves, and that the suit was giving her some sort of enhancements, obviously, because, in order to throw a shield like Captain America or to do moves like the Black Panther, you would have to have superhuman abilities, which, you know, the character did not possess innately. So I'm just going to assume that it was the suit, which is bulkier, and the stunt person in the suit is actually a man who is bigger than the actress who portrayed the character with the helmet off. So we're just going to assume that the suit had some sort of enhancements. I mean, it would make sense. Like I said, the Red Guardian's very funny. Enjoyed him. I enjoyed the false bravado that he was displaying. The love of Russia, the love of the Communist Party, only for him to reveal that it was indeed false bravado, that he was just basically lying to himself, lying to the world in order to try to make sense of him giving up his daughters, giving up his children to the Russian government in order to be experimented on. Now, Natasha and Yelena are not his real daughters, obviously. They were two girls that were given to him and Melina as part of a mission, and in order for them to steal research at the North Institute. Now, they basically were undercover for 3 years, in which the Red Guardian and Melina did grow some sort of attachment to Natasha and Yelena. But like I said, the Red Guardian kind of, he made himself believe that it was a greater good for Natasha and Yelena to be given to the Red Room to do service to Mother Russia. However, shortly after that happened, he was thrown in jail for the rest of his life, and he's kind of got to come to terms with the fact that the government basically used him and threw him away like leftover. So, Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow herself, the whole story is basically her way of reconciling, her past. She's got to figure out where the Red Room is. She's got to reconnect with her parents, forgive them for what they've done, forgive herself for what she's done. It's really well handled. Like I said, there is some dark stuff that they sort of start to go into, but they don't really fully commit, which is why the movie is not more highly rated by myself. Like I said, the Taskmaster stuff is pretty good. In my opinion, it's not comic accurate. It's not that great if you are a fan of the Taskmaster. But if you're just a fan of the movies, if you're just looking to watch something, then, boom, there it is. Overall, decent movie, good action, fast paced. You're going to care about the characters. It doesn't really have any bearing on the entire MCU aside from the final scene in which Yelena Belova is approached by Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, the Contessa, the one that, if you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you'll recognize her as the woman who recruits John Walker to become U.S. agent. So apparently, Yelena Belova, the new Black Widow, has been working with her, and she's being assigned at the end of the movie to a mission to kill Clinton Barton, which I believe will probably lead into the Hawkeye series, but we'll have to see how that goes. Now, for the Captain America theory. During the movie, the Red Guardian is in jail telling a story about how he fought Captain America. Excuse me. One of the other prisoners basically tells him he's full of shit because Captain America was in ice the entire time. Now, this is supposed to be a funny moment, haha, everyone realizes he's lying, and you would think that would be the end of it. However, when he escapes with Yelena and Natasha, he ends up pulling Natasha to the side and asking her if Captain America has ever talked about him, as they are both representatives of their own, respective countries and national heroes and everything, that they're basically, two sides of the same coin. Now, why this is important is because, no one has heard of the Red Guardian. He's not a character that anyone has mentioned previously in any of the movies. So the only way that, Captain America would know of him would be if they did indeed meet, if they did indeed face off against one another. So I postulate, what if, when Captain America went back in time to be with Peggy Carter. He went through the timeline, lived his life, came upon the Cold War days. Something happened where he forced himself to go back into Captain America mode, put the costume back on, went on a secret mission, met up with the Red Guardian, had a fight, went back into hiding, ended up becoming Old Man Cap at the end of Endgame, so that he did, in fact, fight communists, fight the Red Guardian, and actually, it shows that he was active, in secret, if anything, during the time that he was with Peggy Carter. Now, this could be the case, or it could simply be a throwaway gag, a nod to the comics in which there was indeed a Captain America who was active and fighting communists. He was supposed to be Steve Rogers, only for the comic writers to retcon it as someone who had a operation in order for his face to look exactly like Steve Rogers, and who only believed himself to be Steve Rogers. Well, maybe they're going to introduce that character. Maybe they're going to introduce, a second Steve Rogers, a second Captain America, something. I think this little throwaways probably has more bearing than people believe. But maybe I'm just a crazy theorist, who knows. But like I said, Captain America, he might have fought the Red Guardian. They made it seem like the Red Guardian at least believes it. As far as the movie goes, 6.5 out of 10. You'll enjoy it if you enjoy the MCU movies. You'll enjoy it if you're a comic book fan. If you're someone who takes these things super serious and everything's got to be exactly by the book, exactly by the comics, then you'll probably throw a shit fit and you won't like it. But that's all I got to say about that. Love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.